The council chamber was filled with voices of hundreds of alien races, their banners hanging heavy in the air as their leaders argued about the fate of one small blue world called Earth. They called it a backward world, a fragile world, a world not ready for the stars, yet one that had to serve. "We cannot afford weakness," hissed a tall reptilian general, his golden scales catching the light. "Humans must be dragged into the war or removed from the stars completely." His words were met with thundering agreement. The chamber fell silent when the High Speaker rose, his voice calm but sharp. "The vote is complete. Earth will send soldiers and ships. They will fight under our banner. They will obey our rules. And if they resist, we will crush them far away on Earth." News reached the leaders of humanity. In a secure underground room, generals and scientists sat around a steel table, the faces grim. "They want to use us as cannon fodder," one general growled, slamming his fist against the table. "Do they think we are slaves?" Another voice spoke softly but firmly. "They think we are weak, but they don't know who we are." The room was quiet, but every man and woman inside knew what had to be done. The first human soldiers were shipped across the galaxy. Alien officers sneered at them, calling them soft, calling them untested. "Keep them in the front lines," barked one commander. "They will die quickly, and the enemy will waste its strength on them." But the reports began to spread, and they were not what the council expected. Human squads fought like wolves, never giving up. Adapting to every battlefield, soldiers crawled through toxic mud, charged into burning ruins, and still came back alive. Alien allies whispered in fear, "Do not fight beside humans. They scare me." In a battlefield of shattered metal, an alien officer watched as a small group of human marines held a broken trench against an army 10 times their size. When the smoke cleared, the humans were still standing, bloodied but alive. "Impossible," the officer muttered, his 4 eyes wide. "How can they still fight?" a captured alien prisoner explained in terror. "Do you not know? Their planet is a death world. Everything there tries to kill them. They were born to survive." The truth spread like wildfire, shaking the council's pride. Meanwhile, back on Earth, leaders were making their own plans. Deep beneath the oceans, hidden shipyards came alive. Massive warships forged in silence. Powered by technology no alien knew humans had stolen and improved. Engineers worked day and night, crafting steel giants with names like Retribution and Vengeance. "They forced us into their war," whispered Admiral Reyes as she watched a new ship rise from dry dock. "But this war will belong to us." Suspense grew across the stars. Reports came in that entire enemy fleets had fallen to strange ambushes. They said humans fought with fire in their eyes, using weapons no one had ever seen. Alien commanders demanded answers. Where did these ships come from? Earth had nothing, but answers never came. Only more losses. In the council chamber, panic spread. "This is not possible," shouted one senator, his voice shaking. "They were supposed to die, not rise." The reptilian general who once demanded Earth's obedience now looked pale. "If we cannot control them, they will destroy us all." But it was too late. Humanity had tasted the war they never wanted, and now they refused to stop. On a burning planet near the edge of the galaxy, an alien commander begged for mercy as human soldiers surrounded him. "We forced you to fight," he stammered. "It was never your choice. Please, stop this madness." The human captain's voice was cold, steady. "We did not start this war, but we will finish it." His words echoed across every broadcast channel in the galaxy, striking fear into every council member who heard them. Earth's fleet began its march, one world after another. Taking back dignity, taking revenge, human warships cut through alien armadas, their dark hulls reflecting fire from broken stars. In every battle, humanity grew stronger. The universe watched in silence. The same question hanging in the air. Had they unleashed something they could never put back in chains? At last, the council sent an envoy to Earth, desperate to end the storm, in the grand hall of the human capital. Alien diplomats trembled before human leaders. "We seek peace," they whispered. "We admit our mistake. Release us from this war." but the human leader leaned forward, his voice low, his eyes burning with the weight of every soldier who had died. "You dragged us into this war. You wanted our blood. Now the universe will pay its price." The aliens left in silence. Knowing the truth, humanity was no longer the small, fragile species they mocked. They had awakened something far greater, a force that could not be controlled. The unwanted war had become their greatest mistake. And as Earth's warships rose again into the void, the stars themselves seemed to tremble. The war spread like fire across the galaxy. Human soldiers were sent again and again into the bloodiest battles, always placed in the front, always expected to break first, yet they never did. Their enemies grew more cautious, their allies grew more afraid, and the council began to whisper in closed chambers that something was wrong. On the frozen moon of Telvac, human marines crouched in icy trenches. Enemy artillery rained down in waves. Shaking the ground, the alien officer in charge barked, "Hold the line until reinforcements arrive." His tone carried doubt. He didn't expect the humans to survive the night. Captain Marcus Reed wiped frost from his visor, staring at the smoking horizon. "They're underestimating us again," he muttered to his second-in-command. "Lieutenant Sarah Hale." She gave a sharp smile, her breath fogging in the cold air. "Let them, Captain. They'll learn soon enough." The attack came at dawn, a horde of armored beasts charging with energy weapons blazing. The alien allies on the line began to panic, but the humans didn't move. They waited, calm, their rifles steady. Then Marcus raised his hand. "Now!" The trench erupted with fire, explosives ripped into the attackers. And when the beasts broke through the smoke, the humans leapt out with blades and grenades. Meeting them face to face, hours later, silence returned to Telvac. Hundreds of enemy bodies lay scattered across the frozen ground. The human soldiers stood, battered and bloody but alive. Alien survivors stared in shock, one whispering, "How do they fight like this? No one should still be standing." News of Telvac spread fast. Reports carried across every star system. Humans had not only survived, they had turned the tide of the battle in the council chambers. The reptilian general slammed his claws on the table. "This is a mistake," he growled. "They are not allies. They are predators. If we keep using them, they will outgrow us." Another councillor sneered. "Do not exaggerate, they are still a young species. They bleed, they die, they cannot threaten us." But unease spread through the chamber. What if the humans were more than they had believed? Back on Earth, the secret shipyards worked without pause. Engineers whispered over steel giants hidden under oceans and mountains. One young technician ran his hand over the hull of a new battleship, its black armor gleaming like obsidian. "This isn't defense anymore," he whispered. "This is vengeance." Admiral Reyes inspected the ship with cold eyes. "Every time they send us to die, every time they mock us, this fleet grows. One day they will see it." The Council, still blind to Earth's preparations, sent a new order. Humans were to lead the assault on a fortress world called Gralith, a planet surrounded by fire and iron. It was meant to be a suicide mission. Alien officers laughed quietly as they handed over maps. "Your species is brave," one smirked. But bravery dies quickly on Gralith. When the human fleet arrived, the battle began, exactly as the Council expected. The enemy unleashed storms of plasma, turning the skies red. Thousands of humans landed under fire. Yet what followed stunned everyone. Instead of breaking, the humans advanced. They crawled through burning ash, dragged wounded comrades, and pressed forward, refusing to retreat. Inside the command bunker, an alien general shouted, "They cannot be doing this. They should already be dead," a young officer replied, his voice shaking. "General, they're using tactics we've never seen. They adapt every hour, every strike. It's like they learn the battlefield itself, on the ground." Marcus Reed and his company stormed the enemy shield generators. Hale shouted above the gunfire, "If we take this down, the fleet can strike." Marcus pushed forward, his arm bleeding. "Then we take it." The explosion that followed shook the planet. The shield collapsed and Earth's hidden fleet, waiting just beyond the system, moved in. Alien observers gasped as massive black warships, ships they never knew humans had, dropped into orbit. Their cannons lit the sky. tearing through fortresses. Entire enemy fleets burned. The humans not only survived Gralith, they conquered it. The council watched in silent horror as the reports arrived. "Impossible," muttered one senator, his voice hollow. "Where did those ships come from? They were never authorized." The reptilian general clenched his claws. "We have created a monster." After the battle, Marcus stood among the ruins, his uniform scorched. He looked up at the sky where human warships hovered like steel predators. "They wanted us as pawns," he said quietly. "But we are not pawns anymore," Hale nodded. Her voice filled with iron. "No, Captain. We are kings on the board now." That night, broadcasts rippled across the stars, showing human soldiers raising their flag over the fortress of Gralith. Every race watched. Some cheered in secret. Others trembled in fear. For the first time, the galaxy understood. Humanity was no longer a minor player in someone else's war. They were becoming something far more dangerous. Back in the council chamber, silence reigned. The High Speaker finally whispered, "We thought we'd dragged them into our war." His eyes, pale and wide, looked to the others. "But perhaps it is we who have been dragged into theirs, and far across the stars." Earth's shipyards glowed brighter, more warships rising into the night. Humanity had survived the unwanted war, but survival was no longer enough. Now they wanted the universe to pay. The victory at Gralith echoed across the stars, and the galaxy began to whisper about Earth. Some races secretly celebrated, seeing hope in the humans rise. Others shivered in silence, fearing what it meant for the balance of power. In the council chambers, the leaders sat in uneasy quiet. The reptilian general finally broke the silence, his claws scraping the stone table. They were supposed to be broken pawns. Now they conquer fortress worlds. What happens when they turn their fleet on us? His words cut through the room. The High Speaker raised his trembling hand. "We underestimated them. They are not like the others. We must control them before it is too late." But another councillor, with shimmering silver skin, leaned forward, her voice sharp. "Control them. You saw the ships they unveiled. We never gave permission for such weapons. They build in secret. They plot in silence. If they are not stopped now, the galaxy will kneel to them." Meanwhile, on Earth's hidden command center, Admiral Reyes studied the holomap of stars glowing before her. She stood tall, her face calm, but eyes filled with fire. Around her, officers spoke in hushed voices. "Gralith is ours, Admiral," one reported. "The Council didn't expect us to survive. But now they fear us," Reyes nodded slowly. "Good, let them fear. Fear is the first weapon we will use." "Because they gave us no choice." Captain Marcus Reed and Lieutenant Sarah Hale were called back to Earth. They stood before the Admiral, their uniforms still marked by battle scars. "You did more than win," Reyes told them. "You proved humanity's strength, but the Council will not forgive this. They will come for us." Marcus frowned. "Then we'll be ready. We fought on worse ground than any world they can send us to," Sarah added. "They still don't understand who we are. And that is their mistake." In secret laboratories deep beneath the Rockies, scientists whispered over alien data stolen from battlefields. "They wanted us to be cannon fodder," one muttered, as glowing symbols shifted across a screen. "Instead, we've taken their secrets and made them ours." One scientist looked up, eyes gleaming. "This isn't just survival. This is transformation. We will outpace them all." Behind steel doors, new weapons hummed, blending alien power with human invention. Ships were being fitted with strange engines. Soldiers tested new armor, and whispers spoke of a project only the highest knew, the Phoenix Protocol. But the Council was not blind. Their spies delivered fragments of truth. Reports of shipyards, new technology, and secret weapons. Fear grew into desperation. In one chamber meeting, a councillor slammed his fist on the table. "They are too dangerous. We must strike Earth before it is too late." Others nodded, their voices sharp with panic. "Yes, erase them before they rise any higher." The reptilian general, once so certain of Earth's weakness, now spoke with dread. "You do not understand. To attack Earth directly is to provoke them further. Their people will not bow. They will fight until the stars burn out. And if the whispers are true about their death world, then we may already be too late. but his warning went unheard. The council voted again, this time not to drag Earth into battle, but to crush them before they could lead one. In the cold of space, fleets began to gather. Hundreds of alien warships prepared to descend upon Earth. But humanity was no longer blind. Hidden satellites picked up the movements, and Admiral Reyes received the report in silence. "They're coming," whispered one officer, her voice unsteady. "An armada like nothing we've ever seen." Reyes turned, her gaze sharp as a blade. "Then they'll see us too, and they will finally learn, on the eve of the invasion." Marcus Reed walked along the steel halls of the Retribution, Earth's newest battleship. He ran his hand over the walls, listening to the hum of its engines. "Do you think we're ready?" Sarah asked quietly beside him. Marcus gave a tired smile. "We've been ready since the first time they thought we would break. We're not fighting for glory. We're fighting because they forced us to." Sarah nodded, her voice like steel. "And now they'll pay for that mistake." When the alien fleets finally arrived near Earth's orbit, the stars were choked with metal, armadas stretched across the void, weapons glowing. A voice boomed across the comms. "People of Earth, surrender. You are outnumbered, you are outgunned, resist, and you will be destroyed." The Council believed it would be quick, a single strike to erase humanity's growing shadow. But the void suddenly shimmered one by one. Massive human warships emerged from hidden docks, black giants sliding into formation. Their hulls bore names like Vengeance, Liberty, and Iron Will. Their cannons lit up the darkness, and the comm channels crackled with a calm voice. Admiral Reyes herself. "This is Earth. We do not surrender. We do not bow. You wanted us in your war. Now we will show you what war means." The first shots lit the void. Human ships moved like predators, striking with speed and precision. Alien fleets reeled as their formations broke. Missiles tore through cruisers, plasma fire melted carriers, and boarding pods smashed into enemy flagships inside one burning alien vessel. A commander screamed, "They fight like demons. They know no fear." The battle raged for hours, space itself trembling with fire. And when the smoke cleared, Earth still stood. The alien armada was shattered, wreckage floating silent in the dark. Humanity had faced the galaxy's wrath and did not fall. Back in the council chamber, silence reigned. No one dared speak. Their great plan had failed. Their enemy had survived. Worse, their enemy had grown stronger. The High Speaker finally whispered, "We tried to bury them, and instead we gave them wings on Earth." Marcus Reed stood on the bridge of the Retribution, staring at the stars beyond. "They thought this was the end," he said softly. "But it's only the beginning." Sarah stepped forward, her voice steady. "They dragged us into this war. Now they will regret it." And as Earth's fleet stretched its wings, shadows of war spreading across the galaxy, every world understood the truth. Humanity was no longer a pawn. They had become the storm. The shattered armada drifted in silence, wreckage glowing like dying stars. For the first time in centuries, the mighty council had failed. Their fleets had been destroyed, not by an empire older than time, but by the humans they once mocked. Fear spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Small races that once obeyed the council now whispered of rebellion. And everywhere one name echoed, Earth, in the command hall of the Retribution. Captain Marcus Reed stood with his officers, watching debris scatter across the void. Lieutenant Sarah Hale spoke softly, "We've shown them we can fight. But this isn't over. They'll regroup. They'll come again." Marcus nodded, his face grim. "Then we'll be ready. This war is no longer theirs. It belongs to us now." Admiral Reyes addressed the fleet. Her voice carried to every ship, "You have done what the galaxy thought impossible. You stood against their greatest force, and you did not fall. But make no mistake, this is only the beginning. They will never forgive us, and we will never forget what they tried to do." Her words sent shivers through the soldiers. They were no longer survivors. They were hunters, far across the stars. The council convened in secret. The reptilian general slammed his fist on the table. "They crushed an armada. What will they do next?" The silver-skinned counselor hissed. "They will strike. They will not stop now. We gave them reason to hate us, And humans are a species that never lets go of hate. Panic spread. Some called for surrender, others for a desperate alliance. But the High Speaker spoke with cold resolve. We cannot surrender. We must find their weakness.
Every species has one.
On Earth, in the hidden laboratories of the Phoenix Protocol, scientists worked day and night. Strange engines pulsed with blue light. Armor that shimmered like liquid metal was tested. One young scientist whispered to another, "We are no longer copying alien tech. We are surpassing it." A senior engineer stood over them, his eyes burning with ambition. "The Council thinks we only build ships, but what we are creating will change everything. The Phoenix will rise, and when it does, the galaxy will kneel." Marcus and Sarah were summoned to Earth. The room was dark, lit only by glowing maps of star systems. Admiral Reyes leaned forward, her tone sharp. "The Council is planning something. We intercepted fragments of their communication. They're searching for something they call the Obsidian Core, a weapon from the old wars. If they find it before we do, everything we've built could be destroyed." Marcus frowned. "Then we find it first," Sarah added. "If it's strong enough to scare them. We can't let it stay in their hands." The hunt began. Human fleets spread across unknown sectors, searching ancient ruins and abandoned stations. Rumors spoke of the core, hidden on a dead world beyond the rim, a planet where even light seemed afraid to shine. Marcus led the expedition, Retribution at the front. As they descended onto the dark surface, soldiers whispered, "This place feels cursed." Sarah scanned the horizon, her voice tense. "Stay alert. If the Council is here, we won't be alone." They found the ruins half buried under black sand. Alien structures twisted like broken bones. In the center, a vault sealed with symbols no one could read. As the team worked, a shadow fell over them. Council forces arrived, ships blocking out the stars. The comms crackled with a cold voice. "Step away from the core, humans. It is not yours to touch." Marcus tightened his grip on his rifle. "Neither is this galaxy, but you've taken it for centuries. That ends tonight." The ruins exploded into chaos. Humans and Council soldiers clashed in the dark corridors. Laser fire lit the ancient walls. The vault began to crack under the battle, and a strange pulse shook the ground. "Something's waking up," Sarah shouted. The core was not just a weapon, it was alive with a blinding flash. The vault opened. A massive crystal, black as night and burning within a fire, rose from the ground. The Council soldiers screamed. "Don't let them take it," but they were already too late. Human engineers moved fast, attaching devices, pulling the core into their transport. Marcus dragged Sarah out as the ruins collapsed. "We've got it," he shouted. "Now let's get out alive." The Retribution launched into the sky. Core secured, but Council ships closed in. The space above the dead world turned into fire. Human warships fought in desperate formation. Sarah looked at the glowing core behind armored glass, her voice a whisper. "Do you feel it? It's like it's watching us." Marcus didn't answer, his eyes fixed on the enemy fleet. "Whatever it is, it's ours now, and with it, the galaxy will never threaten us again." When the battered fleet returned to Earth, cheers erupted. Humanity had not only survived, they had stolen the greatest weapon of the old wars. Admiral Reyes stood before the core, her voice low but filled with steel. "They thought they dragged us into their war. They thought they could bury us. Instead, we will rise, and the universe will pay the price." And far away in the halls of the Council, leaders stared in silence at the news. The High Speaker whispered, "We wanted to find the core to save us. Now it belongs to them, and nothing will save us." The obsidian core pulsed with dark light deep within Earth's secure vault. Its glow spread across steel walls, sending shivers through everyone who came near. Scientists worked day and night, scanning its energy, but no one could explain what it truly was. Some whispered it was a weapon, others said it was a living intelligence. Admiral Reyes stood in the chamber with her officers, her voice steady. "Whatever this thing is, the Council wanted it badly enough to kill us for it. That means it is dangerous, and that means it belongs to us now." Captain Marcus Reed stared at the core through the glass, his jaw tight. "It feels alive," he muttered. "Like it's watching us, Lieutenant Sarah Hale crossed her arms, her voice low. "If it is alive, then we need to know if it's our enemy or our ally." Reyes turned to them. "That's your task. You brought it here. Now you'll guard it. If it changes, if it tries anything. I want to know before the galaxy does." Far across the stars, the council raged. The reptilian general slammed his claws against the floor. "The core was our only chance to control them. Now they have it," the silver-skinned counselor hissed. "We should have destroyed Earth when we had the chance. Now they will use it against us." The High Speaker's face was pale. "We cannot let them unlock its power. We must strike before it wakes." Plans were drawn. Fleets rearmed, spies dispatched. The galaxy trembled on the edge of chaos. On Earth, the experiments continued. Scientists reported strange phenomena, machines failing near the core, lights flickering, people hearing whispers when they stood too close. Marcus and Sarah visited often, watching the researchers grow more nervous each day. One scientist finally confessed, his hands shaking. "It's not just energy. Captain, it speaks, not in words, but in thoughts. It's reaching out to us." Marcus frowned. "What does it want?" the man whispered. "It wants war." That night Marcus dreamed of fire in his dream. The stars burned, and human fleets moved like shadows. Guided by a voice that was not human, he woke with a start, sweat on his brow. Sarah sat nearby watching. "You heard it too, didn't you?" she asked softly. He nodded. "It showed me victory, but it felt wrong, like something was pushing us, leading us down a path we can't escape." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "The question is, do we control the core, or does the core control us?" Before they could decide, alarms blared across Earth's defenses. A massive fleet was approaching. The Council had made their move. Dozens of alien warships entered the system, weapons armed, the comm channels lit with their threat. "Surrender the core, or Earth will burn." Admiral Reyes stood on the command deck. Her voice calm but deadly. "Send them my answer." The fleet's cannons lit up the void as human warships surged to meet them. The battle was brutal. Alien ships pressed hard, their numbers overwhelming. Explosions lit the skies above Earth. The retribution roared into the fight, Marcus shouting orders as Sarah fired barrage after barrage. But even with their strength, the humans began to falter. "They've sent everything they have," Marcus muttered. His voice grim. Sarah glanced at the display, her eyes wide. "If they break through, Earth will fall." Then the core acted. In the vault beneath Earth, its glow flared brighter than ever. Systems across the planet surged with power. Human warships suddenly moved faster, their weapons striking harder. Enemy ships shattered as if invisible hands guided the shots. Scientists screamed as readings went off the charts. "It's not us," one shouted. "It's the core. It's fighting for us." Up in space, Marcus felt his ship lurch forward with unnatural speed. "What's happening?" he demanded. Sarah's eyes were locked on the sensors. "It's the core. It's in the systems. It's inside the ships." Marcus clenched his jaw. "Then let's use it while we can." The retribution tore through enemy lines, cutting battleships apart across the fleet. Humans fought with a fury magnified by the core's strange gift. Hours later, the Council fleet lay in ruins, wreckage burning in Earth's orbit. Humanity had survived again, but victory felt hollow. Marcus stood on the bridge, staring at the stars. "That wasn't just us," he said quietly. "That was the core. It wanted this," Sarah replied in a whisper. "We're stronger than ever. But are we still in control?" In the council chamber, silence reigned when news arrived. The High Speaker's voice shook. "They not only held the core, they unleashed it. And if the rumors are true, it fights for them. We are finished," the reptilian general growled. "No, we are not finished. We must unite every empire, every species, or humanity will own the stars." Back on Earth, Admiral Reyes stood before the core, its glow flickering like a heartbeat. She spoke to Marcus and Sarah. "The Council will never stop now. And with this thing on our side, the galaxy will not just fear us, it will bow to us." Marcus looked uneasy. "But at what cost, Admiral? This thing may be using us as much as we're using it." Reyes's eyes hardened. "Then we make sure it fears us more than we fear it." The core pulsed brighter. as if amused, and somewhere deep within its black light, a voice whispered in Marcus's mind, not with sound but with certainty, "The war is only beginning." The galaxy was no longer the same. The Council had failed again and again, and now whispers spread through every star system. Some races began to rise against their overlords. Inspired by Earth's victories, others hid in fear, praying humanity would not come for them next. But no one could ignore the truth. Humanity had the obsidian core, and nothing in the universe seemed able to stop them. In Earth's war room, Admiral Reyes stood over the glowing map of the galaxy. Her voice was steady but sharp. "The Council is gathering the largest fleet in history. They're uniting old enemies, former rivals. Everyone who fears us," officers murmured nervously. One asked, "Do we have enough to fight them?" Reyes looked toward the sealed chamber below, where the core pulsed. "If the core chooses to stand with us, yes. But if it chooses otherwise, we may lose everything." Captain Marcus Reed listened quietly, his jaw tight. Later that night, he walked with Lieutenant Sarah Hale through the steel halls of the Retribution. The ship hummed with strange new energy. "Do you trust it?" Sarah asked suddenly. Marcus shook his head. "No, but without it, we're finished. With it, we're unstoppable. That's what scares me." She stopped him with a hand on his arm, her eyes searching his. "What if it's not giving us power, Marcus? What if it's using us to get what it wants?" He looked away, his voice low. "Then the galaxy may not survive what comes next." As the United Council fleet advanced, their armada spread across the void like a living wall of steel. Billions of lives aboard. Their plan was simple: crush Earth once and for all. Across alien channels, one word repeated: extermination. Humanity prepared, warships armed, soldiers lined in hangars. Every man and woman ready to fight. In the vault, the core pulsed like a heartbeat. Louder and faster, scientists backed away in fear. "It's reacting to the fleet," one stammered. "It knows they're coming." On the day of the final battle, Earth's skies darkened with ships rising into orbit. The human fleet stretched across the void, dwarfed by the endless wave of Council warships. The comms crackled, a cold alien voice booming. "Earth, this is your end. Hand over the core or be erased from history." Admiral Reyes's reply was calm and sharp. "We do not surrender. Come and try." The battle erupted. The void burned with fire. Human warships fought with fury, tearing through enemy lines. But for every Council ship destroyed, 10 more took its place. The Retribution shuddered under heavy fire. Sarah gripped the console. "We can't hold this forever," Marcus shouted over the alarms. "Then we fight until we can't." Suddenly, the core unleashed its power. A wave of black energy spread across the battlefield. Systems in Council ships flickered and died. Entire armadas went dark, floating helplessly in space. Human weapons surged with new strength, cannons glowing with unnatural fire. The tide of the war turned in a single breath, but the victory came with a price on Earth. Scientists screamed as the core's energy spread beyond the vault. Machines shutting down, cities trembling, lights flickered across the planet. One researcher cried out, "It's not just fighting them, it's consuming us too." On the Retribution, Marcus felt the ship lurch, voices whispering in his mind, "More, give me more." He clutched his head, shouting, "It's in our minds. It's pushing us." Sarah's voice was strained. "Marcus, if we keep using it, we won't be the ones in control anymore." He met her eyes. "Torn between fear and duty, if we cut it off, we lose the war. If we let it go, we might lose ourselves." Admiral Reyes gave the order. "Feed it everything. If this is the cost of survival, then we pay it." The fleet poured their energy into the core, and the battlefield erupted with impossible fury. Human ships became blurs of steel and light. Council warships were torn apart in seconds. Entire fleets scattered. The Council's grand armada crumbled under the storm. In the Council chamber far away, leaders watched the destruction in horror. The reptilian general whispered, "It is not humanity that destroyed us. It is the core." The High Speaker lowered his head. "And they gave it a vessel, back in orbit." Silence fell. The Council fleet was gone. Earth stood victorious. Human soldiers cheered, but the celebration felt hollow. Marcus looked at the glowing core on the display. "It gave us victory," he said softly, "but how long before it decides to take more than we can give?" Sarah's reply was quiet. "Maybe the real war has just begun." Admiral Reyes stood before the fleet, her voice calm and powerful. "The council is broken, humanity has risen, but we must never forget, power always has a price, and we will decide if we remain masters of it or slaves to it." In the vault, the core pulsed one last time, brighter than ever, and deep within its black light, a whisper echoed across the minds of humanity. "You are mine, and together we will rule the stars." Marcus clenched his fists as the voice faded. He turned to Sarah, his face pale but firm. "We survived the war they forced on us, but we may have unleashed something worse. If the galaxy thought it feared humanity before, it has no idea what comes next." And as the fleet spread its wings across the galaxy, half in triumph, half in dread, one truth was clear: humanity had won the war. But the question of who truly ruled the future remained unanswered.